Well, hello everybody. It's a long time since I did one of these. I have had a few comments, some positive, some negative, and I just want to clarify. I do these off-road reactions because I'm totally 100% against the portrayal of four-wheel driving in a negative way, and the poor preparation, poor operation of vehicles that seems to be encouraged by these, especially the very large channels, who I feel have a responsibility to portray things differently. Now, unfortunately, unfortunately, YouTube doesn't reward that. So they try to be dramatic and they try to be creating essentially what is clickbait. Unfortunately, that really perpetuates this idea amongst a certain group of people, particularly who want to mimic what's happening in these videos, and I'm 100% against it. Anyway, that's not to say these people would actually, given the opportunity, encourage the kind of behavior that perhaps they're reflecting inadvertently. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I feel, as a person who runs four-wheel drive tag-along tours and a person who has crossed the Simpson Desert 33 times, done the Canning Stock Route 10 times, Cape York 22 times, Kimberley 20 odd times, and all the Western Desert regions, I speak Indigenous languages, I feel I have a responsibility to correct some of this. My channel is nowhere near as big as theirs, so I don't think I'm doing them any harm, but what I am hopefully doing is educating a small group of people about what I think really should be happening. Anyway, let's get on to this video. This is from a very large channel. This is Ronny Dahl. Never met the man, not making any personal assessment of him. We're reviewing the video. So let's take a look at it. The video is called We Underestimated This, the Canning's Reality Sets In. So just to set the expectation here, I guess, the Canning is perhaps one of the world's most remote tracks, and it's very long. The thing about the Canning is you are extremely remote, so if things go wrong, you have to solve the problem yourself, or it's going to get very expensive and very dangerous. So you need to treat the Canning with a huge amount of respect, a massive amount of respect. Now, it is possible for anybody, especially first time traveling in this kind of country, to underestimate it. It shouldn't, I think, be something that Ronny Dahl would do, but let's see. I don't want to judge too early. However, what I want to say is this. There is no terrain on the Canning that is more difficult than any terrain you'll find anywhere else. There's just an awful lot more of it. So if you think you've seen corrugations, think again. The corrugations are endless. If you think you've seen, washouts, you're going to see quite a few on the Canning. If you think you've seen sand dunes, you're going to see a lot of them on the Canning. About the same number of dunes as there is in the Simpson Desert, except being spread across 400 kilometres, they're spread across 1900 kilometres or 1500 kilometres anyway. So the thing is, the Canning, as beautiful as it is and as wonderful a trip as it can be, what you're really trying to do when you're traveling the Canning in terms of operating your vehicle is you're trying to limit the possibility of attrition type damage, the damage that comes from endless interactions with the terrain. So whether that's the corrugations or other things, or the sand dunes. So you're trying to be super gentle wherever you can be. So now, in order to do that, you have to plan. And I'll be the first to admit that plans do go awry My own canning trip last time I did it, we were 3 days late, but we don't care about schedules, right? I run tours, people pay me, but I tell them straight up, I say, listen, you need to allow 4 additional days for the tour to run over time by 4 additional days, because it can happen. Now, it has never happened to me in all the times I ran the canning tour until 2 years ago. And then we were overdue by 3 days. But we didn't change our travel schedule, and we won't change our travel schedule for that. And that's one of the keys. So I'm just going by the heading there. We underestimated this. The reality sets in. The reality was always there. You just had to understand it. But maybe I'm judging too early. Let's have a look what happens.
Our adventure nearly ended before it started,
Oh my god. We nearly had a vehicle fire.
serving as a reminder the Canning Stock route is not to be taken lightly. The track is rough, unpredictable, enough to slow us
We
down.
weren't even halfway to where we were going to be yesterday.
Yeah.
This is where you were talking about? Yeah. And we are here. Shit.
Already 2 days behind schedule. Supplies are still good. However, if this pace keeps up,
This is pretty frustrating.
we might be living on
A trailer load of milk. How much milk did he bring?
32 litres.
I'm interested in that. What the scenery they're showing there right at the moment looks to be at the very beginning of the canning. So they're 2 days overdue before they get there. Is that what's happening? Could be. It's not difficult to do. In fact, that's exactly what happened to us last time. We got reined in 60 kilometres west of Uluru on the Great Central Road, heading over to begin from Wiluna. They look like they're in Wiluna country right now. Let's see if they really are.
32 litres.
and whatever the bush may offer.
Aged to perfection.
Cracks are appearing.
Hard work, drive a lot at night time.
Long days, repairs,
I remember yesterday tasting a lot of dust.
headaches.
I shut my eyes for a bit.
The Canning Stock route is testing everyone,
Can't wait to get off the first page.
one way
For some reason he can't hear me.
or another.
Dust is making its way in.
So, can we make up for lost time? Or will the canning strike again? Last evening, around the fire, we decided to push on as far as we could through the night.
I feel like we've underestimated how long it takes.
The track was slow,
Down we go.
and it took a lot longer than we anticipated.
Okay, first thing, forget the schedule. Do not drive at night time. It is just a ridiculous thing to do. Things just will go badly for you driving at night time. It's not worth the risk. Add 4 or 5 days to your trip. Do not try and drive at night time, especially on these tracks. It's just a crazy thing to do.
So this morning, here at Windage Springs,
a spot we plan.
Okay, so they're at Windage Springs, so they're definitely in Wiluna country. They're portraying it as though they're just starting. So that means they're starting from the Wiluna end. And Windage Springs is not very far into the trip at all. They must have been behind before they got to Wiluna. Anyway, they haven't even started, essentially, if I'm reading this correctly.
a spot with
Planned to reach 2 days ago. We're waking up a bit dusty, a bit tired. Coffee this morning,
That's surprising.
that's a necessity.
2.5 espresso.
Okay, I've made this comment many times before and I'm going to make it again. Don't bring your coffee machine. Seriously. Canning Stock route. Wait, keep the weight down. Keep the weight down. Essentials, right? Coffee machines need power, which means more batteries, which means inverters. It's just not worth it. All right? Get one of those little espresso squeezy things. Oh, I forget what they're called. I'll show you one in a second. Or do what I do and just have the satchels. Like, this stuff is completely out of control. This shiny gear syndrome. You know, you don't need this. It's just weight.
With sweet milk and
But hey, we've woken up in one heck of a beautiful place. Now that we have our coffee, I want to show you something you'd not expect to find in the desert.
This beautiful waterhole is called Windage Springs. It's like an oasis along the canning. Here's a quick tip, by the way. If you're looking for water, you can sometimes get a bit of help from the birds. If you see a flock of birds and they're flying in formation, they could very well be looking for some water or heading to the water source. If you see them all flying and flapping around, not really in formation, it's probably because their bellies are full and they've filled them up at a waterhole.
Before setting out on the canning stock route,
Okay, let's just talk about that for a second. It's always good to share a bit of survival knowledge. Thing to be really aware of here is that it can't just be any birds. Okay, the birds you're looking for are finches, which were what's shown there. Those are zebra finches. In some Aboriginal languages, they're called tsitsi, which is onomatopoeia for the noise that they actually make. So finches can't travel more than a few kilometres away from water, so there'll always be water somewhere around the finches. So just follow them and find them, listen to their calls. Don't know about the flying in formation thing. They fly in big flocks usually. Anyway, Windage Springs, beautiful spot. Once upon a time, John Forrest's era, there was a lot more water there. So Forrest was one of the early explorers. There's a lot more water there. There's some really exciting things to check out at Windage Spring. So if you're coming on my tour, make sure you come along for the walk, and I'll show you things at Windage Spring which I don't think he knows is there. All right, looks like we're setting off here. So we've just left the road running out of Wiluna, and we've turned off essentially after well 1, which is a big waterhole. Stony country in this part, mulga, no sand dunes.
We reached out to the traditional owners, hoping to catch up and learn about their ways. And of course, the desert environment they are so tuned into. The first is at a place called Durbar Springs, just south of Lake Disappointment. This is one of 2 unique opportunities we've lined up on this trip, but our window's narrow. Only 2 days remain until they have to go home.
There you go. Now we get to see what's happening here. So they've arranged with probably Madu Rangers to catch up with them, probably on one of their scheduled trips. So the Madu people will be at Durbar, and probably I missed where he said that they would be besides that. And they're hoping to get a sort of a guided tour, if you like, of Durbar. And so that's why the schedule's important. So this is where it becomes really important to plan it slightly differently than this. So if you do have a meet-up planned, what you're going to do for somewhere like the Canning is you're going to get there a day or 2 prior to when you need to be there. And you're just going to camp up, right? That way, if you're 2 days late, you arrive on time. As I say, I don't really know why they're 2 days late. They haven't really traveled any part of the Canning yet. They've really only done a very small part of it. So why they're 2 days late already is probably down to getting to Wiluna was their issue. I don't know if they came along the Great Central Road or the Gun Barrel Highway or what they did. I suspect they were filming on the Gun Barrel and they just ran over time. But that explains things. But it does come back to the point that, listen, You can't schedule these meetups partway along a track like the Canning and expect it to run to time. Now, I would love to get the Motor Rangers to show us Durbar. I mean, I know a lot about it, but I'm not one of them. Anyway, that's the reason for the schedule.
It's a fair distance from here, and looking at the map, the track begins to squiggle through the dunes. Considering the pace so far, this is going to be a challenge.
We have a lot of distance to make up. It's relentlessly slow, this track. Way more washouts and creek crossings than I was expecting, but it might all change once we get to the sand dunes. Will we get to the sand dunes today? It's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah,
We're not here to put boots on caterpillars,
Wow, man.
so let's get moving.
We'll sort that out too. I'm just gonna go ahead, we're gonna get pretty dusty. Big day, man. Yeah, certainly will be. We'll just see what we can get in today, up until lunchtime. And then I think we'll have a better understanding of how far we can get.
So what do you reckon, trying to protect your car from dust?
Well, you can put a snorkel sock on, and I guess when you don't have a choice, going through a big dust plume, it's just take your foot off the accelerator and just glide through it, and then when it's a bit clearer, then start accelerating again, because then you're not sucking in as much dust.
Look, I'm going to disagree with you, Ronnie. The socks are a really bad idea. All right, first of all, they're oiled, and on a modern diesel, oiled filters are not a good idea. They will contaminate the mass airflow sensor. Second of all, they have been shown to make zero difference to the primary filter. So what you do is you stay out of the dust. As simple as that. Stay out of the dust and have spare filters and change them.
Is it worse, like after a big day, is opening it up and just dusting down your filter that's in the vehicle?
Yes.
Some filters you can, some you can't, but you're better off just swapping it out. That's why we both have a spare air filter. Well 5 is off in the distance.
Again, I disagree. Yes, you do need to swap them out ultimately, but almost all paper and foam filters, you can tap them out. And we'll show you how to do that if you come on a trip with us. I think what Ronnie's saying is some you can't. That would be the oiled filters. But please do not use oiled filters in this kind of terrain. There's a lot of reasons why not. The primary one is potential contamination of the mass airflow sensor, which means you'll get rough idling, extra fuel usage, and you will ultimately end up in limp mode, or could ultimately end up in limp mode. Also, they often don't seal as well, depending on the type, but often they don't seal as well. And if they do clog up, which they can do, then you're overfueling a diesel, and overfueling a diesel creates extra heat. And that is the last thing you want when you've got them working hard. So I'm going to disagree with that. Yeah, so you can see we're not even at well 5. Okay, now well 5, from Wiluna to well 5 is a day trip. I've driven in there with broken front spring. Yeah, so I don't know where they lost their days. Excuse me. Now L5, you can actually come in from one of the cattle stations. You can come along really good roads, so you don't even have to do this section of track. So again, this comes down to preparation and research. If I knew I was 2 days late when I arrived at Wiluna, I would not go via well 2, 3 and 4. I would go via the station track and come in at well 5, and I'd be way ahead.
Off in the distance. We're skipping that because we've got to make up some time. We are in fact right now leaving Wiluna country, and we're now into Barilli Baru country. As always, leave the gate as you found it.
We have entered the wild. The land's dry, empty and alive all at once. It's only a matter of time before the desert's wild side shows itself. That looks very fresh. I think it's safe to say that there could be a camel just around the corner.
Hey, Ronnie.
Camel. Although camels were introduced into Australia, they're now just part of the outback. And having spotted our first on the Canning, it gives us a deeper sense of how remote this place really is. But what we're about to do as we stop for a break brings us right back to civilization.
We pulled up for a quick stop and I put my headphones on because I'm about to do a podcast. I never thought I'd see the day where I'd do that. And that's thanks to having satellite internet connection.
Welcome back to the Four Wheel Drive podcast. Our man, Ronny Dahl.
Canning stop route like American dude to serve your coffee. Exactly. The distance between convoy does end up become a cave every now and then. It's still the dust. Yeah.
I'm just going to jump through that bit. I don't want to see a podcast.
Oh, let's get the show back on the road. Still on the first page of my research map. Mount Salvador is just over there. That's at the top of my page.
Mount Salvador, that's here. Camp last night is only just here. We haven't come far. During our map session, we agreed.
Alright, so well 9. Well 9, that's where we're headed.
According to the map, we're pretty close to well 6. From there, well 9 is another 60 k's. Pretty doable in the afternoon, right?
No.
In the perfect world, yes.
No, not doable. First of all, and here's another thing. First of all, well 6, Perry Spring is one of the most beautiful campsites on the Canning. If you can work it, you want to arrive there for your camp. Well 9, Well Spring is barren, open country on top of a sort of a ridge. So Well 6 is beautiful. Eucalyptus cameldulensis or big red gums, just one of the most beautiful campsites on the whole Canning, apart from Derby Spring, of course. So this is again why, this conquer the Canning kind of process is not the process you want to be thinking about. What you want to do is plan your trip so that you can get the most out of it. But we know why now. We know that the reason is they've scheduled a meetup, which they should have, in my view, planned to arrive 2 days prior to when they expected to be there. That way they would just camp up for a couple of days and wouldn't have all this rush. They're not even into the difficult part of the Canning yet. So, rushing is where you have breakdowns, where you have problems, and they're not even into the difficult stuff now. So rush now and you could find yourself in a lot of trouble when you get to the more difficult stuff, if you like. Anyway, let's move on.
Yes, but by the law of the Canning.
Come again? Sorry, dropped out then. What's he saying, mate?
He's just saying, can you hear him all right now? Yeah, I can't hear you. Chris says he copied. Did you not get that?
For some reason he can't hear me. Ronnie, you got a copy? Well, I can't hear him, so did he answer?
Seem to get through to Ronnie. He's at the front of the convoy, and we're right at the back.
All right, this is a great lesson here as well. Thanks, Ronnie, for helping us out with this one. So, obviously, people like myself very experienced in operating convoys, and we will either have a company tail end Charlie, someone who's working for us, who's permanent tail end Charlie for the whole trip, or we might have a tail end Charlie in training who is learning how to do that job, or we'll rotate the tail end Charlie duties through the convoy so it's a different person every day, but it needs to be a fixed person for each day or each period. We make it a day so that you are aware of the status of the convoy, because you know who's where. You don't know who's in the middle, you don't really care about that order. We rotate that as well just so it's fair to everybody. But the rear vehicle, you want to know who that is on any given day so that you know that the convoy is intact. And what really experienced Tail Charlies do is they constantly communicating forwards to the lead. Just little trivial things often. And my Tail Charlie, my best Tail Charlie, Misty, would do things, and we were so in tune, she would do something like, she'd read a sign to me over the radio. And there was no reason for her to read that sign. Let's just say we're on a straight section of, I don't know, the Tanami Road or something. And she might read a sign that says, Alice Springs, 500 kilometres. And I would respond by saying, you are 15 kilometres behind. How did I know that? Because when I went past that sign, I zeroed my odometer, knowing, because we travelled so many years together, that she would read that sign to me and then I would know how far away she was. Also, she'll just make a comment like, oh, what a beautiful day, or something like that, just so that I'm always aware that she's in range. The other thing we do is we put a spot messenger in the Tail Charlie vehicle that can communicate via sat phone or whatever to the lead vehicle, and can also communicate with emergency services if they get into life-threatening danger. What we also do is we designate, where we know we're going to be separated by a long distance, we will designate a middle vehicle, typically one who has the best radio that we've determined from listening for a day or two. And we'll say to that person, if we need a relay, you will be the relay. Everyone else needs to stay quiet. That stops that constant chatter. Everyone feels like they need to fill you in on what's happening. No, just one person, please. Not all of the whole convoy telling me what James at the back is telling me. I just need one person. So this is the whole point of, having people who are really, really experienced at running convoys. And it's one of those benefits of going along with really experienced people, doing a tag-along tour, for instance. You learn these processes. You learn how to stop all that nonsense chatter on the radio that just gets in the way. You learn how to make sure people are safe and all that kind of thing.
This is pretty frustrating.
Yeah, it's not good.
Man, what?
See, and it shouldn't be frustrating. It should all be just regulation. You should just know how to do this stuff. Know how to deal with it, right? Just going to say, Pete, you're vehicle 3, you're the relay.
What have you done different? Have you hit something? The comms have been really crap today, and I think I've already spotted why. If you look at where the antenna is there, the antenna will cast from that entire section, not just from the top, the entire section. So if you look at that swag. I know you guys are doubting it a bit, but I reckon move the swag. Yeah. It's the same when you're driving with lots of trees around. It's line of sight. So if I'm on the other side of all these trees, I might pick him up, a bit crackly, but that's blocking it. I also think you need to move that to there at some point.
Yeah, look, Ronnie's right about this, absolutely. That antenna is actually in the worst possible place. It's just a bad install, straight up. High is good, but when you're in the Tail Charlie position there, having it at the rear of the car is problematic anyway, because what happens with antenna position is even though it's probably an elevated feed antenna, so it doesn't really rely on a ground plane, it's still going to get a lot of reflected power backwards. So a more centrally located antenna, which wouldn't be working on this because it's on a roof rack, or an antenna that's mounted higher up towards one of the front corners, I think would be a better option. Anyway, this is all sorts of things that you learn, and ask somebody who can help you. So now I am a very experienced radio operator. I got my third class radio operator certificate in radio telephony when I was 15. I couldn't actually get the certificate. I had to wait another year before I could get it, but I did the exam. So that was ship to shore high frequency radio stuff. I've been operating high frequency radios, very high frequency radios, and ultra high frequency radios all of my adult life plus some. I have an advanced amateur radio operator certificate, which means I can pretty much work on all the amateur bands and all kinds of different kinds of modes. I've been using HF radio in the bush for a long time. This is UHF radio, and it's a much clearer signal, but it is, as Ronny is saying, line of sight, and it is really important that you understand that it's line of sight. But notwithstanding all of that, the answer to this is, particularly when you're running late, don't go stuffing around with this stuff. Put this guy number 2 and put someone else's tail in Charlie, and you'll be fine. That's if he is tail in Charlie. If he is number 2 and they can't hear him, then he's got real problems.
Move all this to that side. Right, let's move it. I reckon as far as you can on this side, eh?
Yep. I'm going to block my starling now.
Well, what's more important, talking to me or starling? Don't answer that. I think even if you moved it just forward, if you had to put it there, you would still get more signal out.
We got it sorted and we're moving again quickly. However, the truth is becoming clearer.
You said you're going to get the Durban by lunchtime tomorrow, yeah? Yeah, Barger ground.
Durban by lunchtime?
So it's not going to happen.
Durban is well 17. We're not even at well 6. Something has got to give. If we drive too fast, it'll be the vehicles. If we drive for too long, it'll take its toll on the crew.
Man, I just really want to find somewhere around here to camp.
But if we slow down and keep our pace the way it is, it'll be our plans, our commitments that give. Which is it going to be?
Now, I keep talking about ghost gums to people. This is what I mean with the afternoon light hitting the trees. Look at this place. Yeah.
Okay, so these are not ghost gums. These are red gums, Eucalyptus camaldulensis, and the spot is well 6. Perry Spring, and that hill there behind the track actually runs round that hill. As I said, this is one of the best camps on the whole Canning. Let's see what he has to say about it.
Out of all the campsites you've seen so far, is this the best one?
Pretty wicked, man.
Wow, look at those trees. It's like someone's painted them. So we've had enough Weet-Bix this morning. This location is called Pierre Springs and it's well 6 on the Canning Stock route. It was known as the Diamond in the Desert, and that's what John Forrest called it, and then later renamed it after his Aboriginal guide, Tommy Pierre. You can see why.
I've been told it's Tommy Perry, and it's called Perry Springs. I don't know if that's correct, but that's what I call it.
There were seniors as the Diamond in the Desert. It really does stand out.
So much so, we couldn't resist setting up camp.
Absolutely.
We'll decide.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there for now. We're going to do another episode on this. I hope my comments have been useful to you. And as I say, I don't actually know Ronny Dahl. I'm not picking on the guy. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just trying to ensure that we are well educated about how you travel these tracks. If you've got any questions, reach out for sure. I'm Kimberly. Let's leave it there. We'll do another episode on this. It's actually really some wonderful filming in this, by the way. And I'd love to come back to it and see what ultimately happens to them. We might get 3 or 4 episodes out of this. Let's see.